Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying #ways, where we talk about topics in the news as they affect us all. I am Glory Ifoma and I'm joined by my amazing co-anchors. We have Jennifer in the studio. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
By the way, you
Hi.
look so
Oh,
fabulous.
thank you, babes.
I
Thank you.
love this shade, this color, everything. How have you been?
I've been good. It's good to be back.
We've not like sat on the show together for like how long? It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't think we sat
Yeah,
yeah this year
this
at all.
year.
Yeah, I think I was only here like a few times, maybe once or twice. I guess
How's it been?
it's been good.
How's Nigeria treating you? I mean, you look all fly, you look all good too.
It's
I think
makeup.
everything is going on.
Oh.
It's makeup.
It's makeup. I mean, life has been good. I think recently I've kind of like learned to depend more on God, right? Because life be lifing. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be alive. I don't know. It's so good to see you as well. How have you been? How was your day?
My day jam-packed with so many things. So we had our strategy session today,
Yeah.
and it was very productive, but very, very intense. And I've just been working on this report. I think it's a miracle that I'm here and looking all flat because I think I look flat too.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, my day has been one of it. It's all good. We also are joined by Norma via Zoom. Hi, Norma. How are you doing and how's your day been?
Hello, ladies. I'm well, and taking it one day at a time. Jennifer, you look amazing. Glory, it's good to
Thank
see you. Good to
you.
see you, beautiful ladies. It's a wonderful Friday, so hopefully we can get some time out with family. Just take a moment and just get ourselves just rested for probably the new week. But it's amazing.
Amazing, amazing. We'll go on a quick break. Stay with us.
Are you saying that they are contributing to the problem of
Okay.
overpricing within
The
the
industry.
Nigerian environment or in
Okay.
the industry at large?
I'll come this way that a lot of these challenges being experienced also, we can't take out the place of the agents away from it. Because the higher the price,
The
the
higher their
higher their
commissions.
commission. In some cases, there are landlords that have said, oh, this house, I'm taking 5 million naira per annum from it, for instance. And the agent is saying,
I can get it for
I
7
can get
million
it
for
for
you.
7. It's now, your friends are taking, all around, your neighbors are taking 10 million, 8 million. And the landlord say, oh, anyway, if you can get me just 5 million, I am okay. If you get anything other than that, it's yours. So some seem to mark it up. And if the regulations we have, if we actually enforce it, then those can be curbed. Now, we won't take out the fact that these things happen, and some of them may be as a result of probably title. Title makes this pricing to go up. Like you see a place where he has probably a certificate of occupancy, and I mean, whether individual or global certificate of occupancy that covers an entire state, and the next one doesn't have. I mean, so to that extent, so
Because
it
this is a
commands
safer
value.
property.
It's safer.
Every year on July 12th, International Malala Day is observed to celebrate the life and legacy of Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani advocate for girls' education and the youngest recipient of the Nobel Prize. On Malala Day, which also happens to be Miss Yousafzai's birthday, the world honors her tireless efforts, her tireless support of women's education right across the globe. This significant day was first observed in 2013 1 year after she was shot in the head and neck by a Taliban gunman for her outspokenness support of girls' right to education. This day recognizes the courage and advocacy of Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani activist for girls' education who survived a Taliban assassination attempt. It aims to focus attention to the need for education for every child and advocate for rights of girls around the world. International Day. We'll go right on to taking what we found in the news. So I don't know if Jennifer, you're ready with what you found in the news.
All right. So give me a moment. So in Anambra State, a couple of policemen have been arrested for phone theft. So what had happened was that people were in their houses, and the policemen entered their houses and started removing their phones from where they were being charged, and also asking them to give them their phones. And however, some of the residents were able to identify some of the policemen, which they also escalated to the police department, and they identified each of these policemen who committed this act, and they've been arrested. So it has been ongoing. I think the video circulated social media. What's today, Friday? So it circulated social media Friday. On Wednesday. Yes. So someone had come up to talk about it. Then the arrest happened today. So yeah, they've all been caught one after the other, and then also been taken to the station for questioning.
Wow.
I think for me, they didn't want to show the faces of the policemen. But then if it was a normal civilian, they would show their faces, right? Mm. You can't be a law enforcement agent and be committing crime. Yeah, you're breaking the law. So why shouldn't everybody see your face?
Yeah.
Like, we should see your face, we should identify you and know that you're also a criminal.
Treated,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, we see sometimes even criminals are almost half naked. They are being beaten, and there's so many news outlets that are taking shots and making videos of these people, but they're not doing the same.
How are we going to trust our security system? How? You know, I took some news the last time where EFCC, members of EFCC broke into a ladies' lodge in a hotel. I think maybe she was a hotel manager. So with all of this, how do we trust our security system?
Don't get me started on the EFCC one. I've been on the receiving end, and it is scary. It is very annoying. It's like they just invade your privacy. Mm-hmm. They have no legal standing. They just have hearsay, and then they show up. Now it was messy because while I was living in Abuja, that was in 2022, the apartment where I was staying, it's like a building of like different apartments. They just broke into the compound. And we started hearing noises like we were breaking into people's houses. They would break down your door.
Yeah.
It was so scary because it was very early in the morning. We're talking about 4, 5 a.m. Then you're still sleeping, and then you're hearing like loud noises. And I've heard people say how they broke into some people's houses. They had to come in through the roof. Why would you do that? Are you a thief?
Anyways, Norma, are you ready to take what you found in the news?
Yes, I am. I have an interesting story today, and it has to do with the first Miss AI. Get this, Jennifer and Glory. She has been crowned, and she is a Moroccan lifestyle influencer. Her name is Leila Kenza Leila. I mean, I saw the story and I was probably, I don't know, I was short of words as to what to say, because guess what? She is a winner of the 10 contestants out of 1,500 contestants who came in for the competition in June. There were 10 finalists, and then at the end of the day, yesterday, she was crowned Miss AI. She's the first Miss AI, and she's also going to be winning $5,000 as well as some support within the AI industry. She has over 200,000 followers on Instagram and 45,000 followers on TikTok. And in her speech, her winning speech, she said, "Oh, winning Miss AI motivates me even more to continue my work and advancing AI technology." And AI technology is not just a tool, it's a transformative force that can disrupt industries, challenge norms, and create opportunities where none existed before. As we move forward, I am committed to promoting diversity and inclusivity within the field, ensuring that everyone has a seat at the table of technological progress. This is interesting. That is to tell you where we are in the world when it comes to AI. Technology has gone as far as being able to crown an AI influencer as in a beauty pageant. So we're not, this is a competition not against just technology, it's a competition with humans now. The advancement in technology has created situations like this. We have a lot to deal with as humans now. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I'm just curious, and I'm watching the space, and hopefully it can make more I don't know, sense to me. It's not that it doesn't make sense, it's just something that is new that I'm just trying to absorb, and very big indeed.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm also trying to like understand the whole Miss AI. Like, this is not a real human, perhaps. It's just, I don't know. I know AI is here to stay, but I don't know if we should be afraid at this point, or we should. I know like it has its positive sides, but then these are some of the things which we will see and we'll be like, we don't know where all of this is leading to. Anyways, I'm just going to quickly take a quick story we found today in addition to the next story I'm going to share. So it's saddening. So we saw a video of a collapsed building for two-story building in Busa Boji of Jos North LG of Plateau State. Students or school children were caught in a collapsed two-story building. I don't know how this story is progressing, but in the video it shows we could see some of the students being rescued. I mean, I pray that all of the children are being rescued in this, because it's really going to be sad to lose our young ones to this sort of tragedy. Going forward, today what I found in the news is about the CBN governor and talking about our liquidity, or so it reads that, 1 minute. The governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, has said that Nigerians are facing the consequences of excess money supply in the economy, citing the 27 trillion naira waste and means loans and means and loans and 10.5 trillion intervention of the past administration. Cardoso said this at the Business Day CEO Forum, which was held in Lagos on Thursday. He said interest rate is now set by the governor of is not set by the governor of Central Bank. The interest rate is set by the members of the Monetary Policy Committee. Thankfully, we have a Monetary Policy Committee composed of independent-minded people who are solely driven by data. This begs a lot of questions. Last year, they were saying like there's just too much money in circulation, and they put us in one very unfortunate situation where there was shortage of Naira notes. Now we have all of these reports, and most times there's always a conversation of is backed by data. But if you add up reality or what we are facing and the data which they're talking about, like there's a disconnect between the data which is driving their decision and what we're actually seeing out here. But hey, let me just believe, like, I don't know which data they are using, but I hope that that data reflects reality or what is actually out here or what we are seeing out here, because sometimes there's always a disconnect. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to continue further in the conversation.
If you took that to another level, you understand that if you're driving on the streets of Lagos, for instance, if you, as a private person, drives on BRT lane, the police will catch you. But if the bus driver, the danfo driver, enters the same lane, they'll probably wave at each other because the bus driver had purchased the license for impunity when he paid his dues in the morning. So you are not dealing with a society that is governed by law. The first time I was slapped by a policeman, I was 16 years old. I wasn't doing anything wrong. There was a riot going on, student protest at Oscars in Ife. There was a problem at Unifair in those days, and there was a riot. And I was going from my hall of residence, heading to the school campus to go and read. I didn't realize that there had been a resurgence of the protest and police were chasing students around, cops and robbers. So me, I was coming out of my hall of residence, heading to the school to go and read, and I ran into a policeman. And, you know, it was like in a cul-de-sac, we ran into each other, and he slapped me. He slapped me so hard, my books fell down. And the guy was just looking at me with his hand on his waistline. And in that moment, you know, he just, in fact, the way I wrote about it, when I eventually wrote about it years ago, I said I received sense. He slapped me so hard, I received sense.
Thanks for staying with us. Wednesday, the 10th of July, was Global Energy Independence Day. Tonight, we'll be focusing on Nigeria's energy sector, from its historic oil boom to current challenges. We'll explore Nigeria's role in global energy markets, compare its situation with other countries, and discuss what true energy independence means for the future. We will discuss the key facts and figures, such as Nigeria's position as Africa's largest oil producer and its ongoing struggles with energy access and sustainability, and also compare Nigeria's energy landscape with other countries. Looking at successes and setbacks in achieving energy independence. Join us as we uncover what this day means for Nigeria and how it reflects broader global trends in energy policy and independence. While being a major oil-producing nation, the irony is that a significant portion of its population still lacks access to reliable electricity. Today, we're going to be talking about a critical overview of the energy business in Nigeria. Joining us to have this conversation is a seasoned communications professional and public relations practitioner. He is well known within Nigeria's energy and power sector and has served as the compare and conference moderator for various corporate and public sector energy events. Notable events such as Nigeria Energy Leadership Summit, Nigeria Oil and Gas Outlook, Nigeria Power Outlook, and Gas Investment Summit, among others. Welcome, Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo. I hope I got your name correctly.
Yes, you did. Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, correct.
Okay,
yes.
Hope it wasn't too stressful getting here.
Okay, a little bit, but we are here.
Are you excited to be here? Because
sure.
we are here to learn, want to know plenty of things about energy, and we just want to know everything about energy. You know, most times when we talk about energy, a lot of people are focusing on oil and gas, because of course, that's like Nigeria's biggest exports product. So just tell us, before we even go into the topic, just tell us about some of the things you've been able to cover when it comes to energy as a whole.
Okay, I mean, Nigeria, like you said in your intro, I mean, we are our population 200 million, and we are. When you look at the power issue in the country, it's saddening, you know, because at the moment, half of our population, about 90 million of our population, they still don't have access to power. So it's a big problem. And this problem is what, people working within the sector are still trying to solve every now and then. On my way here, I still saw many areas that are in darkness. And just 2 weeks, last week, the grid collapsed. So this is the fourth collapse we have had this year alone. So it calls for concern. What can we do? What are the alternative sources we can harness? To keep our lights on, to keep the country on, to keep business going. Because whether you like it or not, businesses can really not function if they don't have power. So the power situation in Nigeria as it is today is epileptic. It still is. We wonder why successive governments since we got democracy in 1999 has been unable to solve this issue of power. It's been a campaign promise back and forth. And we are here today. It's still a campaign promise. In fact, the last government said, we'll fix power in 6 months. And in 8 years, we're still having the same issue. Yeah. So if you look at it holistically, the sector, like you said, energy, because energy is not just oil and gas. We look at energy from another angle of it, which of course includes power, which it's the backbone of the economy itself. It is indeed epileptic as I speak at the moment.
So listening to you speak now, and I mean, centering it on the country's energy sector, what are the current challenges that you think the energy sector is facing? Well,
one of the big challenges is investment. Remember in 2013, the power sector was diversified. That divestment really didn't go well, and there are still issues from that till today. Secondly, one of the issue again, which of course is affected, is for 200 million population of a country, we are only able to distribute 5,000 megawatts of electricity, as of today.
But why so? Why?
No, we are able to transmit, rather, 5,000, and we're able to distribute out of that amount about 3,500 megawatts as of today. So that is a big problem. And you say, why? Why? It's a question everybody keeps asking. But our grid is obsolete. We have not been able to invest so much into it. But one solution to that problem that seems to come, at least since last year, is the Nigeria Electricity Act that was passed last year, which, of course, now helps states to generate, transmit, and distribute their own power. So if we implement fully that act, I think we'll begin to solve the problem gradually. But as it is today, Nigeria is generating about 13,500 megawatts. Out of that 13,000, we are able to transmit about 5,500 megawatts. Out of that 5,500 megawatts, the discos are only able to distribute 3,500. So this is where the problem lies. And until we are able to solve this problem, part of it that needs to be solved is investment. We need to invest in the critical infrastructures that must see us to grow, these megawatts. At least Nigeria as a country, the number we have, we should be doing around 30,000 megawatts. But we don't have the capacity to. So once the grid receives, more than this 5,500 megawatts, it collapses. It collapses. So it's one of the reasons why that leads to this collapse constantly. The other part of it is that 75% of, what we need for power, the infrastructure, everything is gas. So when there's an issue in gas, we experience, these power failures, continuously. So these are some of the issues. Like one of the grid collapse that happened early in the year, one of the key issues that led to it is there was no gas. So what do we do now to harness? Nigeria has one of the highest, gas reserves, and we were wondering why we don't have gas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's because we really have not invested, in those critical infrastructures. We have not invested so much in that sector. We need to now pay attention to it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I hear you talk about investment. But to be honest, there was a time I felt like this is intentional because just to propel a particular business or particular sector, for example, if the electricity problem in Nigeria is solved. We have things like generator. Probably people will not want to. That business is people dealing in that. So, because when we talk about investment, we have capable hands in Nigeria. We have the resources. I strongly believe that. So why are we constantly talking about if there's investment, if there's investment? The resources are there, but why are we not just picking up the initiative to do it and do it properly?
So you see, when we talk about investment, you need to attract the right investors, that should come. And as an investor, when you look at Nigeria as it is, you look at ease of doing business, you look at policy, you look at FX, when a country continues to have, unstable FX, policies around, as an investor, I'm worried if I put my money in this thing, now what will I get at the end of the day? But one thing the Tinubu government has done, though, which I like, is they created that Ministry of gas, where we have a Minister of State on gas, which focus on that sector. This is 1 year of them in office. Soon enough, we should be able to review what that ministry has done around trying to attract investment. The investment professionals will tell you even much more deeper when you look at this issue. Why are we not, getting much needed investment within the gas space? What are the issues? What are the concerns? One of it, even not being an investment professional, I'll tell you, I haven't heard from a few of them, is the ease of doing business, the climate itself, the FX regime. Look at since January, the way FX has been going, it's a big concern. So these are some of the things that led to that. So, and all of this now connects back to power, where we are now having the issue of power, why the grid keeps going off, collapsing and all of that. But in all of this, like I said, the key to solving this problem again is we need to look at the Nigeria Electricity Act of 2023 that was passed. That act, as robust as it is a fine place to begin to start if we want to solve the problem of power. An entire page or entire session of that act talked about renewable energy. How we should promote and harness renewable energy, which is where we need to be looking at now, where I think states needs to be, leveraging more. There are many off-grid communities that we need to look at. How do we power them? Do we use mini-grids? Do we use solar home systems? What do we do with alternative sources, of energy? We can't continue we have abundance of sun. We have abundance of sun in Nigeria. We need to leverage it. What can we do? So that's why the Electricity Act is really robust. We need to look at how states need to now begin to think, what can we do? We can't continue in the way we have been going before. Now that we can generate, transmit, and distribute our own power in our own states, we need to take that initiative, And that act, sorry to say, about only 4 states have been able to create their own electricity market, getting approval from NEC to set up their own market in their states. So more states need to look at, they need to begin to work on the policy, get their state assemblies and their governors to get working. That is where the solution lies, so that we can free the national grid, Yeah.
Interesting. We also have Norma. Norma, are you there with us?
Yes, I am. I was listening keenly to our guest, Wisdom, and I was just going through in my head that from what I hear you say, Wisdom, it seems like our major problem, like you had mentioned, implementation, policy, investment. I
Norma, are you there?
in terms of
Okay, I think we're having a little, so we're going on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with the conversation.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future.
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Welcome back, and if you're just tuned in, we are still having a conversation, a critical overview of the energy business in Nigeria. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation by sending us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is now open. Please call us on 07025007749. Okay, so we're talking about something. But before we continue with that, there is this whole CNG something being done by the government. Do you know about it? Can you help us, throw a little light on it?
Yeah, I mean, the CNG initiative by the federal government, sometime early this year or last year, the President Tinubu had rolled out that initiative where, of course, we now have some CNG buses, in Abuja. I mean, in Lagos, for example, the Lagos state government, invested so much into CNG BRT buses, which if you move around Lagos a lot, you'll see, which is good. When we have all agreed that the transition fuel is gas, CNG comes into play. And with the cost of fuel increasing, you agree that, CNG should be the next line we should be looking at. And many people who are using it have, alluded to the fact that it is way cheaper, than the normal petrol or PMS we buy in a filling station. And it is really helping many people. So I think the initiative is going really well. Recently, the federal government also had published different CNG stations now where you can refill, which is good because one of the big issues with CNG is if I'm driving on Ibadan Expressway and my gas finish, where do I refill? So, they have rolled out different stations where people can refill if they use CNG for their vehicles. And I think converting your car to CNG now has been made free, which is good. Wow. So there are different locations where you can do that. I think I saw that publication of recently, which is good. Like I said, as we have agreed, there's a, sort of like a consensus that the transition fuel is gas because, of course, the effect of gas in the environment, it is way nearly zero than our PMS fuel. So reason why and of course, if you're going to do in large scale, you're looking at where our energy problem is, gas is the way to go. And I really must applaud the federal government for this initiative. We want to see some states like Lagos have taken it up, other states have taken it up also. I think it's good. It will be something we'll be seeing, in different stages, different phases, as this goes on. So I think I will commend the federal government on that.
So we perhaps should expect this coming to life properly because one thing about a good idea in Nigeria, I don't know, something will just happen and it's like, okay, we've forgotten about it. Because I think it's a really good initiative. Yes. And I think it's sort of going to also perhaps affect demand on PMS or so. It's going to go down, especially when it's cheaper, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. I am hoping that...
I'm optimistic myself.
I'm optimistic too.
I'm optimistic
keeping my fingers
myself.
crossed.
I'm optimistic. Most importantly, it is cheap. Like I said, it costs less. I think I see a lot of campaigns by the NNPC around CNG also on people that are using it. We should keep it going. We should keep it going and continue to look at how that really can help Nigerians at this time, because really the cost of petrol, the cost of PMS, it's really...
But is it really going to be affordable in the long run? Perhaps we'll not be able to have the answers to that
we'll not be
question
able
now.
to well, most likely it will still be affordable in the long run, but we can't tell entirely. But let's see how it goes.
So is this CNG only applicable to vehicles?
Yes, CNG for vehicles, yeah.
Okay. So earlier you were talking about renewable energy, just to take us back a little bit. So just to shed more light, what do you think are some of the biggest obstacles that we would face as a country if we want to scale renewable energy solution in the country?
When we talk about renewables, one of the sources that people use the most is solar.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a solar in my house. Most people have solar in their house. We need to see how we can put in effort to drive down the cost.
Tell me about it.
Yes, because when you talk to Nigerians, most times, the upfront cost of getting solar might be worrisome, but trust me, in the long run...
I understand when you say that, because I've gotten a quote on that before, and
yes, you have saved yourself a lot of money, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Calculate how much you probably, if you use a generator set, the cost of fuel, the cost of fuel in January is not what you are buying it today.
Yeah.
It will not be the same by December. So calculate the cost, if you put this vis-a-vis, that quote they might have given you to set up a solar system in your house, trust me, in a year or two, you save yourself a lot of money. But what is making that solar quote expensive the most, if you look at it? One is the battery.
Yeah. Oh.
The second one is the panels. So what we can do to make it easy for Nigerians, as a country, we need to now begin to look at how we drive more investment into doing this in country, because a lot of the investment right now that we give to entrepreneurs, they end up in China, because most of the products are being imported. We need to be able to see how do we manufacture some of these things in country, and if it's done in country, when you come to buy, the cost will be reduced, because the person selling it will not be charging you for its importation and all of that, so all that will be reduced. And there are a few companies who have started doing this that I think we need to begin to support. There's a company I know in Ibejuleki somewhere, Xano Solar, who they now manufacture solar panels in country. They have an assembly plant. Fantastic initiative. We need to get government to begin to support, and every partner to begin to support them, because they are the future. The more they can produce in country, the better. There's another one in Abuja who is just setting up now PV grid solutions, setting an assembly plant also in Abuja. I met the guy 2 days ago. And amazing work they are beginning to do in Abuja, somewhere in Abuja there. So these are the kind of things we need to begin to support. There's a company also, Grenade, somewhere in Enugu, who is setting up also an assembly plant for charge controllers and some of those inverters that you use in country. Fantastic work.
Wow.
Another company is somewhere in Akwa Ibom who is assembling together solar home systems.
Where are all these people? Where are they?
Yes, so in Akwa Ibom, solar home system, Sapphire Energy, assembling these things, in Akwa Ibom. Fantastic. You can see how they are spread across the country. We need to begin to support them. How can we drive investment there? Beyond just private investment, what support can government give to them? When we do this, what we achieve at the end of the day is that we reduce the costs of purchasing this. If the panel is produced in country, if the battery is produced in country, if the charge controllers, the inverters, you get them in country, the cost of that quote you got, will nearly be half the price.
Wow.
So you can imagine. So this is what we need to begin to look at. Like I said before, the Nigeria Electricity Act that was passed, like a page of it, a section of it promotes renewable energy. We need to begin to look at it. What can we get from that to support all efforts around renewables in the country?
All right. Okay, just hold that thought. We're going to go on a quick break. When we get back, we're going to continue with the conversation.
The truth is,
there's really no science to preventing suicide. It hasn't been found. I think the reason it hasn't been found is because it's something that happens to the person on their own. But when people die by suicide, then you realize that there's someone close to them who knew what they were going through. Someone in his family knew that he'd been depressed. It might not be a lot of people in the family, but somebody knew. There's someone he told. There's a friend that knows too, that was just always there saying, fighting, I'm here for you, if you need anything. Or maybe they don't even have to say it in that way, but there's one person aware. So at the end of the day, because there is no way to directly say this person is going to die, I think that the most that we can do is try to, for us that are living, for the rest of the people that are still hearing us, that are still considering it, to say, because we know that one person is aware, maybe you can take the step for yourself to tell maybe a professional to get you the help that you need. Because someone like CEO of Conga, he's exposed, he's traveled, he's seen the world, he has money, he has a family. He knows that suicide isn't the way out. That's not the message that it was thinking of at the end of the day. So I just want to say that, like, the person that's out there, that knows that this is what it is for you, just try and, it changes life. It keeps going. Try and get the help that you need. That's what I can say.
Welcome back. We are talking about a critical overview of the energy business in Nigeria. And trust me, we're having an amazing conversation. Norma, are you back with us? Because I don't know if you're hearing what we've been talking so far. It's quite interesting. Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you, Glory. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, it was raining cats and dogs here, so I don't know, maybe it affected it.
Clear about that. So do you have any further word for our guest tonight?
Oh, well, I just probably wanted to ask in terms of what he was saying, that it seems we have a leadership problem and what we can do to actually begin to, because if we have robust policy or acts, then it's important that we have the right kind of people to push it. So in your opinion, what are your thoughts towards leadership and how the impact it has also had in our energy issues and challenges, being able to create that enabling environment? What are your thoughts in that regard?
Okay. Leadership problem, well, I think one of the major issues we have is implementing. In Nigeria, we always have beautiful laws and policies, but after we are done with them, how to implement them is a problem. And maybe that also speaks to leadership. For example, like I mentioned, the Nigeria Electricity Act, after it was passed, the state needs to pick it up and begin to run with it. But now we have only 4 states who have been able to pass that, which I think is very poor. We need more states to begin to drive this. I know some states already have things in the workings, but since that law was passed till now, I'm not sure why it's taking so long. If the states don't understand it, if the state assembly don't understand, they need to engage, stakeholders within the sector to provide, more knowledge for them to be able to drive this. So I would say why we are not getting the level of implementation that we need to certain policies in the country, of course, that speaks to leadership, how leadership is going about this. You look at that affects every, aspect of the country when it comes to policy implementation. So as beautiful as that Electricity Act is, we still have not achieved 100% implementation of it, especially as states have not, begin to pick it up to drive it the way and manner it should be. So that's where the problem is. When there is a gap, state government should be able to engage. Engagement is critical. Where there's a gap, where you need clarity on this, we need to set timelines. Only 4 states have passed this. It's not good for us. And the earliest we solve the power problem in the country, because power affects the economy. Businesses need power. Businesses need to operate with power. So if the states cannot figure out how to solve and provide solutions for their power issues as soon as possible, then we are even creating much more problem for ourselves. Because I'm not sure how you want to boost your IGR if you have not been able, to solve, for example, a power problem that your businesses need. Because mind you, most businesses, if power was constant in this country, in fact, the money they put into, paying for power that they use or generating power that they use, they can even, some organizations can employ another 100 people, 50 people, so, but they put all this money into generating their own power. So we need to look at this. And I think from the leadership angle, the problem we are having is an implementation problem. How we are so slow at it, how we are not taking it as serious as it should be. So that's my thoughts on that.
I mean, you're right. Just today, we're having like a strategy session, and we're just looking at the whole figure and everything, and our expenditure on power and fuel has gone up significantly. Yeah. So if you look at that amount and you employ someone, that can pay someone's salary for a long time. So I totally get you. Jennifer, yeah, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, so we talked about solar as a form of renewable energy, but are there other forms of renewable energy that that are more affordable? I mean, we pinpointed the fact that it is quite expensive, and obviously not everyone can afford that. And I also know that, I mean, renewable energy, when it even comes to energy topic, not everybody can afford it still. I mean, look at the economy that we're in right now. But are there other forms of renewable energy that might be quite affordable or way cheaper than the solar that we've talked about?
5 years ago, or some 6 years ago, I mean, the argument of it is not affordable was really strong. But I'm not sure it's still the case now. And I will tell you why for solar specifically. It is because I think the sector has grown to a point where, I mean, players within the space have come to understand what the concerns are for Nigerians. So most solar companies now have different payment plans. Even though that quote they gave you, some companies, you don't have to pay it at a go. You can spread your payments within 1 year, within 2 years, and you begin to pay small. You don't have to pay it upfront, and choke yourself with the bill the way you see it. But again, like I said, if you look at it vis-a-vis what you would be paying if you didn't have the solar, in fact, one of my senior friends saw me at an event recently. I said, Wisdom, I should have listened to you and buy that solar at that time, because he's looking at his bill now and it has gone up. But now, for affordability, which I think players within the sector are taking seriously, is, there are different type of solar that you can use. There are the solar home systems who are really cheap and affordable. You can just have a lantern, a solar lamp in your house that can charge.
There's even this one close to a fan where you can put it outside and use it.
The solar home systems where you can charge your phone, charge your laptop for as little as 100,000 naira, 200,000 naira. I mean, there are solar companies that can, sell for you like a solar home system where you can charge your laptop, charge your fan, because the energy needs of everybody is different. What I need power for is different from what you need power for. So depending on what you need power for, you can get something that fits your size and what you need. So we don't look at it from that big, cost of it. So whatever it is that you need, it's sizing. Some years ago, what I needed power for was to charge my phone, charge my laptop, and have one bulb in my room, and then have one fan that I don't feel heat, and I'm okay. Today, my power needs has grown. I need it for a bigger TV. I need it for my fridge. I need to preserve. So different people need different needs, and the players in the space really have understood this. And if you engage them more, which of course I have privilege to talk to a lot of them, with the work I do, there are different payment plans. Like the different companies I mentioned before, especially the ones that don't do the solar home system, as low as 30,000, 50,000. There are solar, products you can get that will serve your purpose for you. And so it's really not as huge as we think it.
Well,
but for other sources, like you mentioned, the reason why we don't hear so much of them is because of scalability. Solar has gotten to a level where it has really, scaled so much that it is now easier to. But there are other sources. There is, for example, waste to energy. There are a lot happening within that space. there are different other sources that people are working on. I met a guy recently who developed a technology where, I mean, you can put it in big malls like Ikeja City Mall. As people step on it, it is generating power for you.
Interesting.
So there are different, some of these technologies, but it's scalability that is really the issue. That's why solar seems to be what is out there and very prominent.
Don't you think like the reason why solar is like, okay, it's now a household sort of nomenclature which people can understand is because there's just been continuous conversation and like advancement when it comes to that. What if we put in the same energy towards other sorts of energies, just like you said, the biomass? I also heard like there's a way you can also agricultural waste, you can also use it to generate. I mean, there are various environmentally friendly ways which we can generate just to have more options. Do you think like, where do you see Nigeria in that in the next couple of years? Is this something that's going to be possible in the nearest future?
In fact, a lot has happened in the last 5 years, 6 years. Awareness, some people have never gone to the market to price a solar product before, but they've heard from their friend that it's expensive. So when you ask them, they say, it's expensive. They've never got to price it before. So now awareness is a big problem, and I think it's even gotten better now. Because a lot of people within the space, I used to run a radio show for 3 years. All I was doing was awareness. Do it in English, do it in Pidgin. What we're doing at the time was awareness. We bring the players into the studio like this, and then they sort of talk about what they are doing and create that. So awareness is really, very important, which is what I'm not sure we're there yet. We're not there yet. There's still room to do more. We have not even achieved so much. But I think as we continue to work on it, which of course this awareness spreads across other sources of renewables also, but it needs to be a continuous conversation. When we continue to have conversations like this, we beam the spotlight on it and all of that. And the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, I think, which is REN, they are working so much within this. It's an association that houses all the players within the renewable energy space. They are also working on different campaigns, which of course I know because I'm close to the association, what they are doing. We need more of that to keep going. Trust me, most people don't still know what solar can do for them. I used to work, where I used to work before, the company I used to work for, the entire office was on solar.
Wow.
The entire office, about 20 ACs,
Wow.
TVs.
ACs. I think one of the drawbacks of that solar, most people say AC, like you just have to use fan and all of
solar
that.
can power anything. Solar can power anything for you.
Okay, I think Jennifer has a
so we have a question here that says that the downside to solar is rain and cloud, and how can we mitigate this?
This comes up very often.
Yes.
But to be very honest, I don't see it so much as a downside because your solar panels can charge even with the smallest of daylight and sunshine.
Wow.
Your solar panels can charge, really. And all you have to do is manage energy. So one thing we are not used to in Nigeria is energy management.
If you leave everything on.
If you use solar, you need to learn. Like in my house now, for example, I tell them, once you're not in the room, turn off the light.
Yeah.
Turn off the fan. Turn off the AC. In Nigeria, it's not a culture for us, so that's why we struggle sometimes when we use solar. Energy management is very important when you use solar. If you're not in the room, turn it off. If you're not, turn it off. You don't have to leave the lights on. So even with rain, I think because even up to now, with the smallest of daylights, your panels are charging, honestly. If solar can be working in part of the world where, they have not even as much as the kind of weather we have in Nigeria, and solar still work for them, I don't understand why it's a problem for us here. So yes, there are times where it will be raining. Of course, it might not be in 100% capacity as it should, but with the smallest of daylight, your panels will charge.
Interesting. Yeah. Norma, I don't know if you have any final words for our guest tonight.
Well, he has elaborated on a lot of things, awareness and all. I just want to know what the government's role, if he can quickly, talk about that is what would the government also do with regards partnering with energy solutions, and how can they also play a role with regards to awareness? I mean, Nigerians, they don't see light. So when they see light, they're going to leave it on because it's something that it's a culture of not having light. So when you have it, I mean, use it, right? But what can the government do to help in the awareness creation as well as partner with energy solutions?
Okay, just quickly, because we have forgot.
We have to wrap. Okay, go quickly. Like I said before, the Nigeria Electricity Act has given us the lead on what we will do about this. And what any government, especially the state government, needs to do is pick that act, go to that section. What does it say? And how do we get on with it? But most importantly, what government, especially the federal government, can do is they need to give incentive, tax incentive, import incentives, that will really help, to these entrepreneurs who are in this space working to boost that, the work they are doing. If we import some of these solar things we need, for example, the man that assembles the solar panels here, it needs to bring in the solar cells and all those things he needs to assemble the solar panel here. If some of those things come in at import free, and they don't have to struggle, because now the other company I mentioned who is setting up in Abuja, one of the issues he's having is that he has not cleared his goods at the port, and you know what the cost of that will be like. So what government can do is those incentives around importing, what needs to set up those factories, those manufacturing, here in Nigeria, what can that do? Of course, tax reliefs. If I'm an Oxano Solar who assembles solar panels here, what reliefs, can I get? And then all of that will really help the sector in that. And the state government, of course, they need to, as they diversify, as they also begin to look at how they can provide powers for their states, they begin to look at what can renewable energy do for them, which I think is a way. Our healthcare system, our healthcare facilities are in darkness. What can they do in those areas to begin to say, should we support or should we power our healthcare facility with solar? When the people see government going more into it, when they see them raising their awareness within, this space, in fact, that's to do a lot of work for us.
Wow, that's a lot of good information right there. Before we go, do ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our social media engagement. And remember to like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch us and follow us. Thank you very much. I hope you did enjoy the show. Bye.